So we are going to continue from where we stopped. Now I'm going to open the Revit file. This is the Revit file that we are going to be using. Very, straightforward file. No, nothing too much there. So now, I applied materials to it, not because I'm going to use those particular materials in 3ds Max, but it's more or less like assignments. So they are just representing the materials that I'm going to be using. Of course, there's nothing wrong in applying the materials that you are going to be using as well. But since we are using V-Ray, I would prefer to do everything, in V-Ray instead of um, creating everything, the material from 3ds Max. They will not be compatible. So, sorry, from Revit. So they will not be compatible. There is no point to stress myself too much on the materials in Revit. So the major thing that you need to do in Revit after you have created everything is to purge. So you go to Manage tab and you click Purge. So you click Purge and click OK. So you continue to click Purge and click OK until you see 0 here. There will be a number here until it remains 0. So basically what you did there is you are removing all the elements, all the components that you are not using in Revit in this particular project. So that's actually what you just did there. So now that we are through with that, we can close the file, then open 3ds Max. Uh, yeah. All right. So this interface may be a little bit different from the last one. The reason is I've installed Corona, so it's there. Nothing, nothing much than that. So I will need to click File and Import. I will choose Link Revit and choose the file. Now, make sure that you install the appropriate, Autodesk interoperability. I'm using 2026 3ds Max. So if my file from Revit is 2025 and I try to link, it's not going to link except I install interoperability for 2025. This is what I mean. Control panel, if I go there and choose, you see Autodesk Revit interoperability 2026 because my Revit that I'm using is 2026. Now, if I'm using 2025 Revit, I will need to actually install Autodesk Revit interoperability 2025. If not, when I want to load this file, it's not going to link. It's not going to link at all. So that's just for that. So now it's going to, bring this for us to select the Revit view that we want. So we are going to just choose the default and we will change the preset to do not combine elements and just bring it in. In case you want to know more about interoperability with 3ds Max and Revit, so you can check this video in the right corner here. I've talked extensively about it. I've done quite a number of tutorial about it. So now we have this file. I deleted all the cameras and the daylight system that came from Revit. I just want the files that I created alone. Now we have this. You will notice that the background is white, and if I press F3 on the keyboard, it's no longer white. You can see. Now what is causing that is F3 is to toggle between wireframe and default shading, but you can click here and change it to different shading that comes with 3ds Max. But here I'm going to just choose different shading, and if you click that default shading again, rather, you'll see that we have background and there is option. So I can change it to solid color because that white is too much for me. Okay, Another thing is the viewport. This particular viewport that we have now is maximized. We can minimize it, and you will see that we have 4 viewports. I like to work with 2 viewports. So I'm here right now, and you can see we have front view and top view. So another thing you'll notice actually is that we have grid lines. So you can press G on your keyboard to remove the grid lines. I prefer to work this way. The next thing we are going to do is to create camera. So I'm going to choose camera icon from the create tab, and I'm going to change it to V-Ray. I'm going to choose V-Ray physical camera, which is actually the one that we are going to be using. And I'm going to draw the camera, place the camera like that. Then I come to this viewport. I can press C on the viewport. It's going to show me the camera view, and if I press F3, it's going to show me the what I have from the camera view. The camera is too low, it's lower than the building. If I press F for front view, you are going to see that the camera is so low. So what can we do? We can select the camera and go to that front again, choose the move tool. You can press W as the shortcut for the move tool and raise it up. You can see as we are raising it up, you can see what we have. So that's good. I can actually draw the camera back a little bit. Now, if you notice the image that we are using, this image have the way it looks. Look at another image like this. Oh, where is that other image? I guess something like this. You can see that the width is different. The width is 1600 by 1067, but in this case the width is 1800, then the height is 2100. We need to set that. There are 2 ways to set it. You can come to render setup by clicking this icon here, and you'll see under common you have output size. Output size, the default one that is there is 1280 by 720. How do you know what this means? Come to the viewport here. Let me quickly remove that background again. Come to the viewport here, select the camera and click show save frame. Now you can see this is actually what is going to render out. This is that size here. So you can change it by choosing custom. You can see when I choose custom, it changed. And now I'm going to just give it 1800 width. Then the height is going to be 2100. See, that's very, very straightforward. Another way you can do it is because sometimes you have your image, your projects like this, and you want to have different views. Instead of one view, you want to have different views, and those views are not going to, be the same. So some will be vertical like this, some will be horizontal, some will be, let me use the professional languages we use for them. Some will be landscape and some will be portrait. So now, how do you deal with that? Especially, when you are working. Really, one of the things you can do is maybe to be doing them one by one, or you can set everything on the camera. So let's set it on the camera. So I'll select the camera and go to modify tab. And on the modify tab, I will scroll down until I see resolution override. I will enable it. So what we are saying is that it will override 3ds Max resolution. So the resolution that we set here now will be override. So it will not use this again. It will use the resolution on the camera for this camera view. So now I can set maybe 1920. Now I will click auto update so that it's going to update everything instead of it updating like this. So let's say 1020. You can see that everything is updating at once. But now let's say 1920 by 1080. Sorry, 1080. So that's it now. That is actually the camera override now. Of course, what I want to use is 1800 by 2100. So I have it and I'm really, really cool with it. Another thing is, even though I have that, I still need to set the camera properly. You can see the way everything is here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the camera itself and come to Z axis here and set it to 1700. So what that means in essence is I'm setting it to um I assume that the person that is holding the camera is tall for about 1700 millimeters. That's one point that's about 170 centimeters. So and that's about 1.7 meters. So of course that's really really tall, but that's what I'm assuming for this. Sometimes you can assume 600 ml. Maybe the person is a dwarf. So it all depends on you. It all depends on what you want to achieve. Now there is no it's not that straightforward. Now, for me to arrive at 1700, I've tried many other heights and I felt like, okay, this is okay for what I'm doing here. So it takes practice, it takes, even if you are the best, when it comes to things like this, you need to do trial and error to actually get what is right. It's not that you just do something and you just put the value and it's okay. No, you you are a human being, you can make error and all that. So because of that, when I got this, I know that it took me, quite a lot of time. So I don't want to be repeating that trial and error during the tutorial. So I've actually written everything down, all those things down, so that I will just enter them and we'll move. But remember, I told you, it's not a rule that you must do it exactly that way. I'm just telling you, okay, this is what I did to get this, and I don't want to repeat that same mistake. So I just want to quickly go and enter a value and, move on. So now on the axis, I have 30 meters, 686.252. So the camera is like that. Then on the y-axis, I have 12, 647.77. So now it's becoming a problem, right? But nothing really is because I need to set the target too. For the target, I set the target to 73 on the z-axis, 15.331. Now that's bad, but we are coming. So on the y-axis is 12, 647.77. Remember, like I told you, I did not enter any value when I was creating this image. It was until after I created this image and it looks nice that I feel like, okay, this is what I'm going to use. So what I'm doing now is not a rule. It's just because I want to mimic this. And even though I want to mimic this, I totally did not remember to enter a particular value. So we are going to actually eyeball that one. So for the x-axis, it's where is it? 9808.748. You can see. So it comes to that and it's looking really really good. I'm looking at something here. We still have a little bit of this around here, and really that one now depends on the camera. If you notice, the camera is still slanting, so let's quickly work on it. So I will scroll down until I see tilt shift. So what I want is I want a straight line. I want the building to stand, not to look like as if it wants to collapse. So I will just click automatic vertical tilt. So it will automatically correct that. And I think we are good. I think we are good for this. I don't know. I don't really know. I'm still looking at the space here and the space here. I think it's okay. So this is how I got the camera composition out. Very, very simple, but it wasn't that simple. You will do trial and error until you get something that you look at it and you say, okay, I think I prefer this. That's just it. So the next thing for us to do now is to actually add elements, and this is actually very, very important. Add elements. So to add elements, we are going to open Cosmos. So we'll come to this toolbar here and we'll choose Cosmos browser. Remember, you are using V-Ray, so you will choose Cosmos browser on V-Ray. Of course, there's Corona here. It has its own Cosmos browser as well, and it's the same thing. The only thing is their materials are a little bit different. There are some materials that are peculiar to V-Ray. Then there are some that are, Corona, but that's just it. Every other thing you will get. And it's saying that in order to use V-Ray toolbar option, V-Ray should be set as current render. Would you like to change it? Yes. So it means that all the work that I've been doing, I've not been using V-Ray as the default, but now it's the default. So let's get it done. Now, there are more than 3,000 or even 30,000. I have forgotten. They just added all these components, all these, for your bedrooms and everything, almost everything that you need, except you want to customize things. But almost everything that you need is in Cosmos. You have more than 4,000, 6,801 assets, 3D components, more than 6,000, almost 7,000. So you have furniture, accessories, lighting, and what have you here. Then under material, you still have a lot of material too. You can see almost 5,000 materials. Of course, you still have more. You have HDRIs. So 122 HDRIs. Then every other thing is just, collection. Like, okay, you want premium library. For premium library, access a selection of exclusive assets by upgrading to the premium plan. So you can get premium plan for your assets. So you have collection or log collection. So upgrading to the collection plan. So you have collection plan, but you can just choose V-Ray material library in case. But that's not where we are coming. We are going to 3D. So just choose your 3D. Don't bother about the premium or no premium. I'm not using premium. It's not, that necessary. But you can see here, we have a lot of vehicles. But what I want to do is I just want to choose maybe SUVs. And for the SUVs, I can't remember most of these things. I don't remember what I used. So I will need to check them again. So I have this green one, this and this, but it doesn't matter which one we use. What matters is, we bring them in. You can click on this green icon to bring that SUV in. So we have this. You can bring this one also in. And you can also bring this in. So we have those three, and those three are the one that we are going to use. So there's a reason, I guess, that I arrange them this way, especially this green. This green is falling into shadow and all that. And the reason is, I guess, I don't want that green to override everything. Here it is a little bit, cooler. It's a little bit darker and it flow with the greens around there. I don't know. I was thinking something. So that's the way I actually work. I try to think. So I don't want distractions and all that. So that's good. But let's just arrange it that way so you can rotate it by pressing E on your keyboard as the shortcut, or you can just rotate to here to rotate. Now, as you are rotating, you will see that it's rotating like this, and I think I'm okay. I press W for the move, and I move it here. I'm just going to quickly arrange all of them. And this. Okay. So I put those there. Then there is another thing to do. If you notice in the image, you'll notice that we have grass. This is grass. So I'm going to put grass. And to put grass, I'm going to press F3. And I've not changed the background here. So for the grass, I'll go back to Cosmos. I'll choose presets. You can see we have presets, and I'll choose surface. Then we have different kind of vegetation elements to use for presets. In this case, I'm just going to use this grass. And how am I going to apply it? I'm just going to drag and drop it. That's all. Drop it on the surface that you want to apply it to. So that's good. The next thing for me to do is, if I render now, I will see that this grass is very, very big. Very, very big. So instead of rendering and wasting time, I know what to do. I will need to go and set the scale. So I will scroll down until I see scale. I'll set it to 10 and 12. How did I know that 10 and 12 is okay? It's because I've worked with it before. So I've known the right value for it. So it helps you because you know now that that's the value that you need to set for the scale. But you can change the scale if you feel like the grass is not big enough or it's too big. You can always set the scale from there. Now, what else do we need to put? We need to import an object. So let's go to import and click merge. So from merge, we are going to go to the desktop where the file is, and I downloaded this box tree. I'm going to bring it in, click OK, select all of them and click OK. Now I will drag them out like this. So we have this box tree, 4 of them, and a stone. So this gravel stone. I don't need this stone, so I delete the stone. And what I want to use to create this, it will randomize the scale. So I don't need 4 of them, I need only 1. And to even go further, I want to utilize the computer memory very well. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to right click on this and isolate. Now what I want to do majorly is to convert this to what we call proxy. What is proxy or mesh? It is, created in such a way that, how do I want to explain this? So when you are converting to mesh, this file have a size. It can be maybe 1 MB, it can be 100 MB, it can be almost 1 gig, depends on the size or on the person that created this. So it has a size. Now, remember that we are going to have many of it. We are going to have a lot of it. A lot of it. So what that means is that when we begin to duplicate it and all, it's going to actually be heavy, make the project heavy. So what we want to do is we want to convert to mesh or proxy so that the memory, your computer memory that it takes to load one, to compute one like this is what it will take to compute as many as possible, even if it is 1 million. So that's what we want to do. So you will just right click. No. Okay. So for V-Ray, recent V-Ray, you come to V-Ray tab here. I'll choose V-Ray Mesh Exporter. So we have this. I'll just enable automatically create proxies. So that's all. Maybe you can set where it will be, but automatically by default, it's going to be here. It's going to be in your 3ds Max folder export. You can see I have quite a lot of them. Actually, I have quite a lot of them that I've exported before. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to click export because I've exported it in many other projects like that. So it already know that there's something like that here. So I'm just going to replace it. And this is what we have. One of the things you will notice is that the file became heavy. I don't know if it's a bug, but it happens like that in video. You can see how it becomes very very heavy, big rather. But no problem, we are going to find something to do to it. Now we want to scatter it on this surface. So I'm going to select that ground and the object. I'm going to isolate them. So I selected two of them. I right click and I choose isolate selection. Now I want to apply this. I want to scatter it on this. So at random. So what I'm going to do is I'll select this chaos scatter. So when I select it, I'll draw it here and I'll go to modify tab. Then you see objects. Under objects, distribute on target object. So what that means is the object that you want to distribute this element. So I'm going to click plus and I'm going to select the floor. So that's where I want to distribute this. Then the object that I want to distribute, I'll select and select this. Then automatically we have this. Very, very crazy stuff. You can see the way it looks. So what can we do? We'll scroll down until we see scale. Where's scale? So I'll do that 10, 12 again. And you can see we have this. Of course, there are some under, but I will not bother about them. The reason they are under is because our surface that we are scattering on is a 3D element. It's not a 2D element. It's not flat. So that's why it's scattering all over that place like that. So it's very, very simple. I can end isolate now. You can see we have this. The next thing for us to do is to actually also bring buildings. You can see here we have building at this side, we have trees as well. And most of these, let's use tree first. For tree, I can come here and go to trees. Under vegetation, you will see trees. And there are quite a lot of trees, very, very nice trees. So I'm just going to search for elm. So I use these trees as background. I can drag and drop it, and I can just place it at the background just to fill up those backgrounds. I can use oak tree too. Those are the two major trees that I use. So that doesn't mean that you should use them. I just, tell you that this is what I use. You can try and choose any other tree that you want. It doesn't matter. Nobody will be checking trees in your rendering, except you didn't compose them very well and they are affecting your image. So nobody will tell you, oh, I don't want oak tree, I want this. No, I don't think any client, except you are making them ornamental tree. Another thing I do is sometimes you don't have buildings to put, you just want to use trees as background and just move on. So in this case, you will need to scatter the trees a little bit much more. And how do you do that? This is where I'm going to be ending the tutorial here. In the next lesson, we are going to go deeper into populating the scene much more. So I'm going to come to object paint here. You can see, and I'm going to click paint objects. Under it, you'll see brush, paint with selected objects. So I'm going to paint with these selected objects, just two of them. And before I do anything, spacing is very, very important. Right now it's on 4 mm. 4 mm is very, very small. Not 4 meters, but 4 millimeters. Very, very small. The tree itself is almost 4 meters, if not more. So we're going to put it on 15,000. 15,000 means 15 meters. So now when you do that, you can begin to actually paint. You can see how you paint all around. So you have a lot of trees, and you can see you can imagine arranging them one by one. It's going to take time. Another thing you are going to do is, naturally trees are not the same size, so you can come to this icon here, which is even. You can do random. You can also round. If you round, it means that where it is starting, it will start small and it will grow up, but we want to do random. And when you are doing random, you can see the scaling is starting from 20 to 200. So I'm going to put it on 100 to 200. So now we have, trees. Quite much, but you get the idea. The idea is for you to know how to populate this thing. So I'm going to be stopping here. In the next lesson, we are going to do much more population with Copitor, copying from one file to another, then merging everything together. And I'm going to be setting light as well. Thank you.